Run out of time, but not out of questions. We will chat again very soon. Thanks for being with us on the channel. But all roads are leading to the Auto Expo 2023. It's underway after 3-year hiatus. The Auto Expo is back. My colleague Parikshit Luthra is right there. He has the management of Ashok Leyland with him. So let's cut straight across. Parikshit, over to you.
Well, yes, we are at the Ashok Leyland stall here at Auto Expo 2023, and with us are Mr. Shenu Agarwal, the Managing Director, the new Managing Director of Ashok Leyland, and the CTO, Mr. N. Sarvanan. Thank you very much for joining us. 7 alternate fuel technologies showcased by Ashok Leyland at the Auto Expo. If I can ask my camera person to begin from there, that is the CNG vehicle, which has been showcased. You have an LNG truck, you've got a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, and more CNG trucks which have been showcased, and electric vehicle trucks as well. Mr. Agarwal, give us a sense of what does this say about the roadmap for Ashok Leyland over the next 5 years?
See, the roadmap is very, very clear because the future is going to be different, and therefore we want to be prepared for the future. And that is our play at the Auto Expo as well. We have nothing from diesel or old fuel here. Everything is future. Right, starting from CNG, LNG, and electric, and hydrogen, etc. Right, so
out of these technologies that you're showcasing, which one would you like to bring to market, probably in the next 1 year or as early as possible?
Yeah, so I would ask Doc to.
The question depends on the ecosystem availability. We believe CNG ecosystem is building up quite fast. So is LNG. So we expect the CNG and LNG to come at a quicker pace, followed by EVs, of course, especially in segments where there's intracity applications where it's possible to put charges much quickly. Followed that with maybe the hydrogen-based vehicles, both the fuels and the hydrogenized. So for us, CNG, LNG, and battery electric vehicle in some segments, followed by the hydrogen-based vehicles is what we see.
Mr. Agarwal, could you give us a sense, as we move ahead and show our viewers what else is happening here at the Ashok Leyland booth, could you give us a sense of the kind of investments you're making in these different technologies? And if we were to ask you to divide it in terms of a percentage, could you explain us what will be the allocation?
Yeah, so without going with a specific number, I would say that about 70% of our capital expenditure on R&D is happening on the alternative technologies.
70% is going towards R&D technologies.
Yeah.
Right. I would also like to ask you about the current share of alternate fuels, green fuels in your portfolio. How much would you like to increase that in the next 5 years?
Yeah, as Doctor also said, depends on a lot on how the ecosystem develops around these technologies. But we want to be ready. We want to be ahead of the curve. We want to be the first in the market as far as possible. And as far as we have a supportive ecosystem, we want to be there in the market. I would say the journey would start with the smaller vehicles first, and there is a lot of discussion in the industry around like 2030, even the smaller or the mid-sized vehicles would be a large part would be alternative fuels. So we just want to be ready for that. We just, and we are displaying our technologies here today.
As we see these technologies, which are some of the products you're likely to launch in FY24?
For example, you see the Boss EV. This is a segment where you're starting to see electrification happen quite quickly, particularly short point-to-point hauls. You can actually see EVs coming to picture. So this would be probably one of the first vehicles from non-CNG LNG possibility coming to picture. The Boss EV, which is from 10-ton to 18-ton platform, could be one of the first products to come into the market.
Right. If I were to ask you about some of the policy clarity that you need from the government at this stage to have a clear roadmap, what would that be?
I think the government has been quite active in the last couple of years. We do have reasonable amount of clarity, other than small noise once in a while, but there's reasonable clarity in terms of what the government wants to push in terms of electrification, also in terms of recent hydrogen policy. There is clarity. Now the question of investments from not just from OEM perspective, investments from the ecosystem perspective. For example, if we take electrification, there's a need for high power charging infrastructure, not just charging for the cars. So that's the challenge. How does one go about it? I think we'll see. The ecosystem will evolve around.
Mr. Agarwal, do you feel that when it comes to heavy commercial vehicles, large buses, heavy trucks, there the hydrogen fuel cell would possibly make most sense?
Yeah, that is what the thinking broadly is in the industry, and that is why we are displaying some hydrogen technologies as well. So when it goes to the bigger sizes, more tonnage, I think that is the way it is going to be.
But the rollout will depend on the availability of the fuel and how the market.
That is what, yes, we believe the ecosystem will have to be quite supportive, but from our side, we want to be just ready for the change.
Okay, my final question as we end, how do you expect to close FY20, FY23, and maybe some of the challenges to growth that you see in the next fiscal?
Yeah, so FY23 has been really, really very good for us so far, and I hope the last quarter would be more, would actually be better. We have a good tailwind because the industry is moving very, very well. Industry is about to reach maybe its peak this year or next year. And on top of that, we have been able to recover a lot of our market share that we had lost. So we are, from the point of market share also, we will be pretty much at our highest ever by end of this year. That is what we are hoping.
All right, Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Sarvanan, thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. So that was the Ashok Leyland management here, giving us a sense of their future roadmap through what they have showcased here at the Auto Expo. Back to you.
Okay, Parikshit, thanks a lot for that, and looking forward to a lot more interactions that you have lined up with the top brass of the auto industry there. That's Ashok Leyland saying they want to be prepared for the future, and they're unveiling a whole host of new technologies like electric, CNG and LNG vehicles. Let's slip into a short break. More on the markets coming up on the other side.